You're the most amazing creation on the planet. You are ready to regain your mental profit. We're fighting this war for our brain. We're fighting this war for our brain. Start with this. Start with saying, I'm enough. You just rewired your brain. In this moment, I choose joy. You just rewired your brain. In this moment, I am filled with gratitude. You just rewired your brain. So I ask you, is today the day you've had enough? Is today the day you say, I am more than my own story. I am my own creation. I choose more.
All right. Hey, good morning, everybody.
I choose greatness.
I hope you're doing amazing.
You just rewired your brain. You need to stop shaking your
We're in
brain.
a battle, a war for our brain.
Your brain is called self-talk. The brain looks for two things.
That little single gave me a chance to be a #1 R&B artist when it launched 2 years ago now. I think it's 2 years, maybe 3 years ago. Anyway, so good morning. Hey, before we get started, any questions? Anybody have any burning desire to review any content before I go into my diatribe of looking at notes and reading some stuff out of my copies of the book? Any questions, any comments, any clarifications? All righty. So we're in Desire, Napoleon Hill's Desire, chapter 2. Actually, is it chapter 2 or chapter 1? No, it is chapter 2. Yeah. So let's go over the 6 things. How many of you did the 6 things yesterday? How many of you, I'm going to ask you to be honest. Did you read out, did you write and read your goals this morning? Did you read your definite major purpose aloud this morning? Most people, 99% of the population won't. They won't. Why? Because what's that phrase? It's easy to do. It's also easy not to do. Good morning, Jameson. It's also easy not to do. So here's the method for which desires can be transmuted. That's the key. I get asked all the time, how do I do this? How do I do this? Can you help me? How do I do this? Can you help me? How do I do this? The answer is, I doubt I can help you. Because help isn't something you get. Help is something you put to use. And if you're asking, can you help? The answer is no. Because I can't help if you don't want it. I need your help. Will you help me? That changes everything. How's it going to help me? It's not going to help you. It's not. I need your help. Now you've got at least a fighting chance. You're halfway there. Does that make sense? Drop a 1 in the chat. This is important because it's not about translating your goals into energy. It's about transmuting your goals into energy, transmuting them, taking them like transmuting them means it's malleable, means you can move it and bend it and crush it and turn it into something else. It's the alchemy of success. It is the alchemy of success, and that's what you're looking for. When you go sit down with these other leaders and mentors and books, this book, you're wanting it to give you some alchemy, some law of alchemy that can take this lead that you have of an idea and transmute it, turn it into your white hot burning desire. So you're literally looking to change one thing, one shape, one idea, one concept into a physical reality. You're looking to turn energy into reality. That is truly alchemy. Now, a true alchemist that we're hoping to find one day is somebody who can turn lead into gold. And you would think it's easy enough just by changing the atoms, the atomic weight of it, but for some reason we can't seem to do it. So, the method by which desire for riches can be transmuted into the financial equivalent. You know, we may not even get off this page. Maybe we will. I hope we do. But I also hope that we get some new ahas. I hope it hits you with like a bag of feathers and it knocks you over, right? Do you realize if you're not, whatever you're translating into the physical reality, into this energetic idea that's floating around up inside this brilliant brain of yours, do you realize what it's being turned into is the value of your thoughts? Ow! What? Your current reality is the value of your thoughts. The universe is paying you exactly how much your thoughts are worth. That's usually when people walk out of the room. That's usually when people hang up. That's usually when somebody says, you're an idiot, screw you, I don't need you, I know all of this, and you're just an idiot. And to that I say, what? Isn't that fascinating? Anything else before I go? That's the reality. Your current result is the universe paying you exactly what your thoughts are worth. And when it says, when riches start to flow to you, they'll come to you from an abundance you didn't know. You'll be like, where the heck was all of this during all the lean times? The lean times are when you had poor thinking. And the abundance is when you have rich thinking. Everything you see is a great idea, is a wonderful idea. You can turn it into, you can transmute it into gold. Now, if that hits you kind of hard, congratulations. You're 98% farther than everybody else. When you understand it's your responsibility, it's not another strategy, it's not another script. What you're asking for when you ask, how do I do that? Doesn't matter what business, what channel you're in, what market you're in, what your customer base is. When you ask, how do I do that? Will you help? Help me do that? You're asking, give me better thoughts. That's what you're asking for. Give me a better mindset. Show me how to think rich when poverty is all around, right? That's called faith. That's why we write out our gratitude every day. How many of you wrote out your 10 gratitude? Drop a 10G in the chat. I'm serious. And if you didn't, drop an N in the chat. So Wallace D. Waddle says, it's not about doing certain things, it's about doing things in a certain way. And if you want to increase the speed, right? We did the things about gravity, about your words, the gravity of your words, the presence of your words, the velocity of your words. If you want the velocity of success to find you faster, you have to set your signal first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning. Before you do anything else. If you could set up a writing table the moment you wake up and just start writing in your gratitude journal while you're still in bed, that would be perfect. It has to be, the sooner it is closer to your wake up, the sooner it is you are to reprogramming. Oh, well, I just don't have time. I got to get up earlier. Get up earlier. Sit on the side of your bed and write it. Get a little neck light. They sell them in Amazon for $18. There's these little things they charge with a USB-C charger. They last for weeks, and they're book reading lights. Get a book reading light. You can buy one that goes in your book, that goes in your notebook. The faster you can get that done, you will increase the velocity of abundance coming towards you. All right, so enough about beating that up. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of the money you desire. We did some of our gratitude, but I didn't see too many about your reading your DMP out loud and writing it. How long should you write it? How often should you write it? How often should you write out your DMP? Until, I'll be how often I'd write it out. Until you memorize it. Until you memorize it. And then I would still write it out. Because even when you have it memorized, it's kind of like prayers in I was raised Catholic. I know the Our Father. I know the Hail Mary. I don't know the Apostles' Creed off the top of my head, but if you started saying it, the pattern runs. It is wired in my brain. I haven't said it for a few weeks, and so it just kind of sits there, and it sits. I don't need to know that I know it, because I know that I know that I know it. So when you start to say it, half of the prayers that are said in church, half of the stuff the priest said, because I was an altar boy for 15 years. What I'm saying is that you want to continue to write it out, because the day you miss writing out your plan is the day you miss the golden nugget that was supposed to be in your hands, and it just, because of awareness, it simply slipped by. So first, write it, fix in your mind the amount of money you want, you desire, the amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, I want plenty of money. Be definite about the amount. There's a psychological reason we'll talk about later. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give for the money you desire. There's no such thing as something for nothing. Do you have a clear, what's your price? What are the things you're going to do every day? Is it a stretch? Because if you're doing the things you have already done every day, you're never going to get close to what you want to get done. If you're doing the things you do every day, then you'll never get to where you need to go. You just won't. And now I see there's 2 Zoom users, and I retitled one, so hopefully I got that right. If I didn't get your name right in Zoom, let me know, and I will fix it, because I did rename somebody. So determine the exact amount you intend to give in return for the money you desire. Third, establish a definite date. What is the date of you arriving at this goal? Because what the date does, right? Jim Rohn said, a goal without a date is simply a wish. What the date does is it turns your wish into a reality, turns your wish into a possibility, turns your wish into, I got to get it done by then. And so it forces you to become who you need to become to reach your goals faster than you thought possible. So number 5, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time for its acquisition. State what you intend to give in return for the money and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. My apologies, because it just showed up Zoom user. So we'll go back to this and go Zoom user. See, I'm good that way, because when I saw 2 Zoom users, I'm like, oh, Murphy's Law. You know, there's that Irish Murphy's Law, USCR. Yeah, things happen that way. So that being said, and number 6, read your written statement aloud twice daily, just once before retiring at night and once after arising in the morning. And as you read, see and feel. That is the most important thing. Right? I mentioned yesterday or the day before, there's a phrase in the Bible that I've heard many people use, and I love it, so I repeat it. I am not a scholar. I can't tell you what chapter, verse, or what book it's in. It says this, though: on the way to your definite major purpose, your hero's journey is you on the way to. On the way to your goal, who do you become? On the way to your goal, who's going to be upset? You're on the way to your goal. See, every time you leave who you are, somebody's going to be disappointed. Somebody's going to be frustrated. Somebody's got to come up with a whole new story. Could you imagine? Imagine you were the mail person, right? Imagine you were the postal person and you were delivering letters. Let's just say you were delivering letters to your home. And every day your home address changed because you changed. I used to be at what's the zip code here? 72153. Now I'm at 72156. Why do you keep moving? Why do you keep moving? Well, because I keep changing, I keep adapting, I keep adopting. But everything in our life is supposed to be the same. We have the same driver's license, right? We have the same address. We like to go to the same grocery stores. We are creatures of habit, creatures of pattern. And then you come along with this bright idea. I'm going to have success. I'm going to have abundance. I'm going to create wealth like that's never been created in my family. And every time you do, every time you, Joseph Campbell, answer your hero's journey call, somebody says, "What are you doing?" And you go, "You're right." And you refuse the call. All righty. The necessary application of these 6 steps does call for sufficient, here's the big one, sufficient imagination to enable one to see. And I think we were over here. The business depression marked the death of one age and the birth of another. This changed world requires practical dreamers who can and will put their desires into action. I'm not reading it word for word. You can read the book. These are points that these were when The Secret jumped out at me, when the flares went up that said, "Look over here. This is for you," right? When you prepare your mind to be ready to listen to the conversation, you wind up putting up flares like a lost boat at sea. They shoot a flare and you're hoping somebody sees it. The reason that I circle and underline, these are flares that when I come back, I can find my direction. These are my breadcrumbs for my secrets and my goals. What I found is over the course of reading it and sharing it and having conversations with people over the last 40 years of reading it, was that the things I underline, they underline too. They underline different things. And I'm like, "Oh, I like the way you think about that." And so I've probably added some of their underlines over the course of my time. We who desire to accumulate riches should remember the real leaders will always have been that we who desire to accumulate riches should remember the real leaders of the world always have been men and women who have harnessed and put into practical use, this is underlined, practical use, the intangible, the unforeseen forces of unborn opportunity. That I have circled, paragraph, inside of parentheses, underlined, circled, big notes. Unborn opportunity, and have converted those forces or impulses of thought into skyscrapers, cities, factories, airplanes, automobiles, and every form of convenience that makes life more pleasant. Everything we know this. And if you need a reminder, here it is. Every success starts with an idea. The reason you're stuck is you're not having enough ideas. The reason you're struggling is you're not having enough ideas. You are not being self-sufficient in your idea factory. Write this down. I am an idea factory. I come up with ideas daily, hourly, minute by minute. You want to have more? You have to create more. And it doesn't have to mean you got to go build more. You have to go create more ideas for the signal that is your ultimate desire to find something to harmonize with. Imagine if you're running around, you join a chorus, you join a chorale, you join a choir. And your note, I don't know what notes are. I have no pitch perfectness. I couldn't tell you what note I'm about to sing. So you're going around, and you keep walking into choirs and they're doing hip hop or they're doing classical or they're doing opera. And you just keep walking in going, and your note doesn't fit in any of those. And yet, well, I want to sing in opera. I want to sing in chorale. I want to sing 80s greatest or the top 20 list. And you're only singing one note. You don't have enough ideas. You don't have enough range. Anybody ever play a sport where you needed to have a range of talent, a range of skill? Does that make sense? Imagine if you wanted to become a seamstress. Well, all I do is flags. Okay. I can't remember her name. Betsy Ross. I know Betsy Ross sewed other things, but she's known for the flag, right? If all you said, well, all I sew is flags, I don't know, you'd kind of be out of business. Or all I do is know how to make cassette tapes. Well, nobody uses cassette tapes anymore. It's not valuable anymore. So you need a range of skills, a range of talent. And here's where you need to focus your range of skills and abilities. How to deal with humans. I have been able to excel in my life, not because of my education, which I have very little, formal education, not because of where I live. I usually don't live in places most people want to live. They want to be there, but they're like, how could you ever live here? There's like 2 restaurants and a Walmart. And so I have a range of experiences. You want to know the great news? So do you. It's called your life. And because you have a range of experiences, you can expand on the range of experiences. So my point is that if you want to have more of what you want, you need to develop the skills, the range of successful skills to work in your marketplace. And your marketplace is human beings. It doesn't matter the market. Every one of you requires the interaction of human beings. And if you are not spending your time building your range of connection, communication, recognition, reputation inside your network, right? What do they say about your net worth? You can determine the size of somebody's net worth by the size of their network. And if you are struggling, your network's very small. And as you build your network, you've got to build a community, which would be your email list. And I don't know why so many people refuse to work on their email list. Oh, well, that's old fashioned. You logged into this program, into this, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Zoom, whether it's my webpage, and you're inside of a membership. An email list is you used your email to log into everything. And until they come out with AI that recognizes pupils and data for security, the easiest way for anybody to log into something right now currently is their unique ID, which is their email. Not sure why more people don't do it. It's the biggest secret out there. Everybody, listen, if you've ever gotten an email from Tony Robbins, why would the #1 motivational speaker on the planet, why would he still use email? Everybody knows him. Why is everybody willing to give you a $5 little gift card or whatever to get your email list? Because email it's key. It's one of the few things you own. It's one of the few things you have the most control. You don't have complete control over it because you could tick off your email provider and they could shut you down because you spammed or you did something or got too many complaints. But you don't own Facebook. You don't own Twitter. You don't own TikTok. And I don't know, I'm hearing, are they talking about shutting it down again? Do you know how many people are going to be out of business because A, they don't have their emails? They can't go find another thing. They may do 100. I know people who do 100,000 a month on TikTok. And I say, if they shut down tomorrow, what happens? I'm screwed. I go, why don't you have all those people's emails? Well, I kind of sort of do. I mean, I did, but I don't own them. Craziest thing on the planet. Anyway, I digress. All right, here we go. Just a couple more minutes and then we'll go into Q&A. Here's some side notes. Tell me about your unborn opportunity. Tell me about your unborn opportunity. You know, when people are pregnant with a baby, right? They're pregnant with a baby. It's unborn, but boy, they're trying to do everything to take care of it. They're going to doctor's visits, checking up on it, checking its heart rate, its fetal heart rate, taking good nutritionals. Mom stops drinking most of the time. Mine didn't stop smoking. Smoked on the day I was born, I think. The nurse said, listen, I'm going for my smoke break. Well, I guess my mom was in bed at time. I'm going for my smoke break, and it was like 4:15. She says, I'm off at 5. If you don't have that baby before 5, I'm gone. And so my mom pushed me out before 5 o'clock because she liked that. Okay. Tell me about your unborn opportunity. Do you have, if somebody said to you, if that was a question today and you got paid, here's the thing. If you tell somebody about your unborn opportunity, your idea, your concept, where you're going, where you're growing, could you tell it in such a way that if they could write a check for it, they would write you for the amount of check you want on your DMP date, the end of this year, a year from now? Is your idea worth $300,000? Your unborn opportunity, what you're about to step into, who you're about to become to make that come to fruition, is it worth that much? Would somebody go, I need that. I'll write you a check for that right now. I want to follow you around and do what you do. I can promise you 99%. They wouldn't give you a stamp to mail your idea. Well, how do I change that? Why do you want to change it? When you stop asking how and start asking why, your life will change forever. 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 But the reason we don't ask why is because now we got to take responsibility. And nobody wants to take responsibility. They say they do. They say they want to be in charge. They want to be in control, but they don't take it. They have it. You have it. The only thing, the thing that separates us from the animal kingdom is that we have complete and absolute 100% control over our mind, over our thoughts. You know how many people take advantage of that? 1%. 1% of the people. You could be in the 1%, like right now, starting right now. Control your thought. Be in charge of what you think about, because what you think about and think about, you bring about. And then all of a sudden, when you start taking control of your thoughts, thoughts start to become what? More valuable. Because if you take control of your thoughts and 99% of the people around you have not taken control of their thoughts, they're going to be like, man, I want to do what you're doing. What are you doing? I control my thoughts. I want some of that. Oh, let us not forget Columbus. Copernicus, the great astronomer, the great astronomer, dreamed of multiplicity of worlds and revealed them. No one denounced him as impractical after, here's the key, after he had triumphed. Everybody's going to call you impractical. Everybody's going to call you crazy, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You're nuts. What are you doing? You're stupid. You've tried that before. Here's the thing that Wallace D. Waddle says. You may have tried it before, but you're trying it now in a certain way. And that's the key you have to hold true. That's the thing you have to hold in your heart. I'm going to do it in a certain way. The challenge is you're going to do it in the same way you did last time and get the same results. I don't know if Einstein ever said it. I don't think anybody could ever quote him saying it, but we always give it to Einstein. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and 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 over, expecting different results. This is where you have control over your thoughts. Success requires no apologies. Failure permits no alibis. Ugh. If I were ever to get a tattoo, that would be it. That might be one of them, but that would definitely be it. Success requires no apologies, and failure permits no alibis. Congratulations. Where you're at, it's your thought. There's no alibis. You did it. Well, they closed. No, you did it. They cheated. And move on. You're still talking about how long ago did they cheat on you? 10 years ago, really? It's not 10 years ago. They cheated on you today. They stole your ideas today. Bob Proctor said, if you don't want to be sick, don't hang out with sick people. You don't want to be poor, do not speak of poverty. You know what the problem is with most poor people is they talk about how poor they are. And you know what happens? They find an audience who wants to listen to them. Why? Because they like being poor too. And if the two of you keep talking about poverty, neither one of you have to get rich. There's no accountability. There's no push. There's no need to get rich. It's, tell me your story. Tell me your sad story today. That's why there's these groups. That's why there's these echelons. That's why there's these classes of mindsets of people you hang around. They say you're the average of the 5 people you hang around most, not the 5 people you have on your speed dial. Right? I have presidents of countries. I have prime ministers of countries. They're not who I hang around most. They're not who I hang around most. I don't hang around most people anymore. So my sheep have a different level of worth. They measure they measure their wealth based upon. Oh, and by the way, Gizmo got shaved yesterday. I got to put some pictures up. It was fun. So much fun shaving. I'll show you some pictures that Mason did. Pretty cool. Anyway, so to win the big stakes in this changed world. Now, this is the 1900s. But we can use Jim Rohn's philosophy. They asked Jim Rohn, what's success going to look like in the next 5 years? He said, pretty much like the last 5 years. Success with opportunity along with failure. That's what the next 5 years is going to look like, pretty much like the last 5 years. To win big stakes in this changed world, you must catch the spirit of the great pioneers of the past, whose dreams have given civilization all it has of value. So let's imagination the feeling of Edison the moment the light bulb worked. Just take a breath for a second. Imagine you're in the room and Edison tells you flip the switch. And the light bulb by this time, the horsehair has already burned. It is already lit up. It is already, right? He had a dream in one of his dreams, one of his visualizations. And now the light bulb came on and it stayed on for 8 hours the first time. Right? Because he didn't have the vacuum tight enough. He didn't have he didn't understand how to seal a vacuum. How do you, realizing that this atmospheric pressure we're in about 15 psi, how when you pull a vacuum of 0 psi, how hard 15 psi really wants to do to fight in. And the reason the bulbs are shaped the way they are, round, cylindrical, all of that stuff, is because there's 15 psi pushing on it. Most of you may not know this, but if you were to put about 5 psi into an average house, 5 psi of air, just 5 psi. You think about how much is in your bicycle tire or your car tire, 30 psi, 40 psi. My Hummer has 60 psi on the tire. 5 psi would blow the windows out of your house, would break every window in your house. And so now if you're pulling a vacuum, imagine if there's a vacuum in your house, all of that stuff, right? So there's a lot of 9,999 times we're told. Imagine you're there when it was the 10,000th time. What do you want to bet? What do you want to bet when it worked? There wasn't the excitement of this is it. This is the one. Because it's been kind of working. It's done some tests. It lasted for 5 minutes and 8 minutes and 2, right? It lit up, it bright, right? It did all of the things. And then all of a sudden it worked. They just tweaked what didn't work the last time. It wasn't about doing certain things. He did things in a certain way 10,000 times. How many times have you tried your success? I can promise you, maybe it's been a dozen. Maybe you might be a rare bird and you've tried 24 ways. 24 ways, not 24 times. You've done it thousands of times. You haven't tried it 24 ways, 36 ways. I can promise you, not 24 ways. You haven't even tried it 100 different ways. I promise you, because none of you are in a business that are that unique. None of you are in a business that requires that much sophistication, that much standaloneness, that much total iconicness that it would become Pulitzer Prize winning. None of us are in a Pulitzer Prize winning business. None of us. If you got good at it, you'd win a Pulitzer Prize. Not a chance. They're all average businesses. And because we're smart, we do average businesses that can create above average incomes. Didn't that make sense? Everybody you're about to go talk to does average income. And when I say average income, if you're talking to millionaires, they got other millionaires they hang out with. Their income is average. It may be above average to you, but it's average to them. Any income level that anybody is at, unless they won the lottery, and we all know what happens to lottery winners typically. Think about this for a second. Let this settle into your being. Let this settle into your bone. The income somebody is currently making, whether it's more than you or less than you, is average for them. Bonus. Don't forget to shout that out if that made sense to you, because this is not about me hearing it. I know what its value is.
Double bonus.
It's about you understanding it. So we're not saying, do you want to create more money? We're saying, do you believe your thoughts are better than average? What if you said that? Do you believe your skills and talents are better than average? Oh, hell yeah. Then you ask them, how do they define average? See, if you deal with sick people, their health is their average. And you're like, man, there's no reason for you to have that. They run around with acid reflux. Well, I've had it for years. Well, that's your average. There's no need for that. Not everybody has acid reflux. You got something screwed up somewhere. Oh, and it can be fixed. Well, no, my dad had it and I had it. Well, that's just generational. That you wired into your cells. That's easy to fix. That's energy. So, okay. You see how I can get lost in just reading this? We're to page 61 and we've already spent 4 hours on it. Let me see if I can get through this. Nope, not going to be able to get through it. There's more than 3 pages. Marconi's friends had him take it. Oh, Marconi. The Wright brothers dreamed of a flying machine that would fly through the air. Marconi dreamed of a system of harnessing the intangible forces of the ether. Evidence that he did not dream in vain may be found in every wireless radio in the world. Marconi's friends, quote, friends, had him taken into custody and had him examined at a psychiatric hospital. See, some of you don't have a belief strong enough that people want to admit you. Now, they may have had interventions. They may have had interventions, but nobody thinks you're crazy enough to take to the hospital because you don't have a burning desire. You don't see something that's not visible. That right there. So maybe that's a new take on it. Your dream has to be so big, so powerful, so clear to you that only you can see it. If you listen to Bob Proctor talk about the beginning of the Little Green Book, when he would talk about Lloyd Conant, and they're sitting there at the kitchen table after Conant would have his meetings, him and some of his lieutenants would go back to his house and they'd sit in the kitchen. And Bob Proctor described it as, and Lloyd Conant would take the top off your head. And he would sit there and he would dream about this worldwide organization of audio tapes, of audio records at the time in every household in America, in the world. And 2 of his top lieutenants, Bob Proctor and the other gentleman that was there who already had a copy of the Little Green Book, he said, and Lloyd would just take the top off of your head. And he would cause you to dream and you would go on this unbelievable dream. Nobody had Lloyd's vision. Yet Lloyd's vision was so clear, other people could say, I want that. The challenge is that your dream isn't big enough for people to say, I don't know how the hell we're going to get there, but I want to be on that bus. I want to be on that boat. I want to be on that plane. I want to be on that train. I want to go with you. Where are you going? And that is not going to change until you decide you're going to have a white hot burning desire. That's when it changes. Here's what I'm going to go do. Listen, how many of you, you can be honest, or you can choose not to answer, but I would ask you to be honest. 1, if it sounded crazy. 2, if it didn't. Listen carefully. 1, if it sounded crazy. 2, if it did not. When you heard my mission, my goal in life is to help people have more of what they want and less of what they don't, to leave a legacy of 600 generations, about 2,400 years. How many of you heard that the very first time and went, that's a little odd? How many other people in your lifetime have you heard want to leave a legacy of 600 generations? It's odd, isn't it? A little odd. So it created novelty. You're like, well, that's different. I bet if somebody asked you, and maybe you don't, we don't talk about it every day, but if somebody said, what makes him unique? He wants to leave a legacy. He wants his name to be spoken for 2,400 years after he's gone. Well, that's just a little, that's just a little crazy. That's odd. Have you met somebody else who wants to leave a legacy of 600 generations? Maybe they do, but they haven't told you. Maybe you're not aware of it. But has anybody expressed that? I doubt no. And if the answer is no, it doesn't take a lot to be outstanding, to stand out in the field of chaos, of averageness. What is your legacy? It's not to build your network marketing business, I promise you. Maybe it's to pay for your children's education at whatever level they choose for the next 5 generations. You realize that's kind of easy, provided we don't have a depression or we go off the gold standard. If the economy stays the way it does, it'll have its ups and its downs. That's real easy to pay for future children's education because money invested can work for you. Anyways, see how my brain goes? It's called spiral thinking. And sometimes it's a trap. A burning desire to be and to do is a starting point from which the dreamer must take off. Create a list of your assets of incomparable value. That one will hurt in the beginning, right? Make a list of your incomparable assets. What do you do so well that nobody can compare? There's only a couple of things. Only a couple of things you do so well. And here's why you're struggling. You are not using those talents. Period. Full stop. Send the text. Well, that's a bunch of crap. Somebody just for those of you on YouTube, somebody wrote nothing really. That's why you're stuck. That's why I bet with that, I could tell you how much is in your bank account. It's listen, if you don't love you, who's going to love you? Why are they going to hang around you? And if somebody says to you, nothing really, they're lying. They found they had their dream. They found they had their gift. And when they said, this is my gift. Somebody said, are you stupid? Are you stupid? That's not your gift. That's not us. Those aren't our people. We don't do that. And the shame loop started. And that shame loop, the reason most of you struggle with your identity is because your shame training started before you knew your name. Started before do you know any parents who the kids screaming and hollering and they're still sitting in the restaurant and they're trying to make them quiet and everything else? They are instilling so much shame into that child. It's beyond belief. Wait a minute. How are they doing that? Let me ask you a real simple question. Do you believe your thoughts can influence your day? And do you believe you can be influenced by the thoughts of others, the expressions of others, the feelings of others? If you were in the restaurant and that child is screaming and hollering, and those parents are trying to keep them quiet, but they stay in the environment, what is the feeling most people have in the restaurant who are within earshot of that child? What do you think the feeling is that the child picks up on? It's being taught by 5, 10, 50 people in the restaurant, you're no good. Because they're really saying to the parents, would you take your kid out? Well, our food just came. How many of you, when your kids were little and your food came and your kid lost their stuff, one of you took the kid out and the other one said, okay, we'll box this up? Didn't happen often, but sometimes Mason would just be a baby, upset stomach, whatever. I sat him on a tack. Who knows what the hell happened? But he would lose his stuff as soon as the food showed up. A lot of times, how many of your parents smoked? Remember when you used to be able to smoke in restaurants and in buildings? My mom used to say all the time, she said, I'm going to smoke a cigarette and the food will come. And every time she lit up the cigarette, the food came. Talk about law of attraction. Anyways, we have taught our children based upon the environment they're in before they could speak how they need to respond and react to the world. Anyways, all right, that's it. I'm going to end there. Let me look at if there's any other cool notes here. What is the reward the universe has for your dream? What is the reward? We'll end on that. What is the reward the universe has for your dream? Right now, if you're living a nightmare, that's the only reward the universe had for you. Because your dreams, your nightmares have come true, and that's because you think about them. Well, how do I change that? Why would you want to change it? Well, because I don't want to think like this. Okay, great. That's not the answer. Why would you want to change it? What's the benefit in changing it? Who benefits when you change it? Questions, comments, thoughts, takeaways, take with yous. Good morning, everybody. From Rocky Creek Ranch. I don't know if it was the moon last night, what it was. I have no idea. This hadn't happened in a while. There must be something kind of big lurking just beyond my skin. Because last night, from the time I went to bed about 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock this morning, never shut my eyes. I mean, I know if I would normally sleep, there was no nap, no nothing. This is now 24 hours plus, 27 hours awake, and it was fascinating. Never really looked at the clock. The first time I looked at the clock, Molly was doing something and it was 4:15. And I'm like, wow, my eyes haven't closed at all. At all. And then I started to get tired. 3:45. Because I knew I could do the math after I looked at the clock. Wow. Okay. So I guess I'll go back and take a nap afterwards. So I'm meant to take a nap after this or sometime this morning. So I'm just paying attention to that. But there's no frustration. I hope you couldn't tell I didn't sleep a wink last night, that I sound as good as I normally do. What would people normally have said when they came on? Oh my God, I didn't sleep at all last night, so I don't know if this is going to be any good. This is going to be freaking awesome. Pretty much gave me 7 more hours or however many hours it was from when I went to bed to think about this conversation. Questions, comments, thoughts, takeaways, take with yous. What'd you learn? What'd you like? What's your lesson? What's your word for the day?
Hey,
Hey, good morning, Selena.
good morning. It's so interesting you say that about sleeping because I had a crazy experience in the middle of the night. I woke up around 3 a.m. and I couldn't go back to sleep, and I was having crazy revelations. And I would like to share it with you guys because I feel it was like really valuable for me.
Cool.
So I don't want to like talk too long. I'll try to condense it, but
No, go ahead. Go.
um in the beginning of the year, I came back from India, and on my flight, it was a terrifying flight, like turbulence for 5 hours
Awesome.
with like the plane dropping, and it was terrifying. And I very much had, I guess, a near-death experience, and it like really forced me to surrender and like be with my mind, and it was a really deep experience. So I still have like lingering
You're gonna owe me
anxiety.
$1 every time you say like, by the way. Go ahead.
I know. I totally stopped caring about saying like. Okay, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. So I still have a bit of anxiety and fear in me from that experience. And on Monday,
Would you like to remove it?
just wait, just wait, just wait. It's a part of the story.
Okay.
So on Monday, I'm going on a flight to go see my grandmother.
Yep.
And I'm gonna go to Italy as well in the middle of September. And I woke up in the middle of the night a bit like with thoughts in my mind of fear about the flight. And then I couldn't go back to sleep. And in this process of me thinking, I was like, wow, these are just thoughts. Like, I'm not on the airplane. I'm not like I've had this experience before. I'm sorry about the like.
That's all right. Just making you aware of it. Go ahead.
So I started to think deeper about fear itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went on ChatGPT and I was like, tell me about fear. Tell me everything I need to know about fear. And the information that I started to uncover, I'm just going to read like a few things that
Mm-hmm.
I highlighted, but I was writing so much. I stayed up for, I think, 2 hours till like
Yep.
5 a.m. That's why I came on late to the call because I overslept a little bit. But the things that I found were just like I was crying. I was like in shock.
Sure.
And it
Yep.
was what I realized from this experience was that same fear, physical fear from a bad experience in the airplane is the same thing that blocks us from stepping into purpose
Mm-hmm.
and being seen and doing all the things we need to do. And I was thinking about you and how you are a brain trainer and you understand this 100%. Okay, so let me see what I can share from what I wrote, but it was crazy. I wrote so much information and I plan to share this on social media because
So hang
this
on.
is,
So before you share it, right? This is me giving you a mentor moment opportunity. You
yes,
say no, tell me to go pack salt.
yes, go,
Is the
go.
conversation around the word fear?
Wait, say that again.
Is the conversation, the information you received from the AI, you received from the two-dimensional screen,
Mm-hmm.
how to deal with fear, how to become more aware of fear, what fear actually does? Is it that in nature?
In a way,
Okay. So what good is it going to be talking about sickness if you want to avoid sickness?
well, with real healing, understanding your sickness and
Yeah,
then
this is a
also
myth.
being
I'm gonna
offered
stop you right there.
also wait,
Hang
wait,
on.
wait.
No. Hang on.
Go
Hang
ahead,
on.
go ahead.
If you want to heal, don't you need to talk about healing?
Yes, and also the
And
remedy.
there's an old belief, there's this old myth that, well, we got to figure out where the fear is. We got to figure out where the sickness is. You will understand the sickness will reveal itself because it's never the sickness, it's the avoidance of health. So my suggestion is the flight back from India was a
Mhm.
life experiencing, not a
Mhm.
fear of death, a life experiencing, a life changing opportunity to become more focused on what I want and a lot less of what I didn't. And this is where everybody wants to kick me in the shins, going, oh, but you can become so knowledgeable about the thing you don't want. See, you went and studied fear. Tell me about fear. Tell me why this happens. Tell me, did you ask it about faith? Have you gone and done the same about faith?
Everything in my study of the fear last night loops everything back to faith
Okay.
and realizing like faith is the alleviation.
So what's the new identity? What is Selena's new identity around faith?
That it is
Oh,
everything no matter what. And it's
so now,
one thing that I did take away from the chat GBT
yep.
was in order to start to alleviate the fear, the only way to do that is with gradual exposure to the thing that you were afraid of. And you're rewiring your brain to no longer fear it because you're doing it. But a lot of the times we stay in the fear because we avoid it and we think that we're safe, which is the same thing that we do with our purpose and with being seen. So a lot of this fear talk was looping me back around to the whole story of control and fear of being seen, fear of being rejected. So there was this like beautiful interconnectivity between like a phobia, but also just fear of stepping into greatness.
So in psychology, they call it desensitization. You need to desensitize yourself to the thing you fear.
Yeah.
You can't you know why there's people who will never pick up a snake?
Their mind.
Even though oh my God, spiders, they scare the hell out of me.
Yeah, my grandma freaks out just if you talk about snakes.
Right. I have a dear friend who does that too. My point is that the desensitization can only exist if there's sensitization towards the joy that you want in life.
Yeah, 100%.
So when we talk about, oh, well, you got to face the fear. What we don't say, which is the same as go for no, the beatings will continue till morale improves. Who do you become when the fear is no longer there? When the fear no longer sucks up your life? When the fear no longer takes the place of your joy? Who do you become? See, if we started with that, people would have the courage to go face the fear, to desensitize themselves to the thing that's crippling. Yet we never ask them, who do you become? Because if you get over your fear of flying, this India return flight experience, this near-death experience, I said you had a near-life experience. It changed everything about you. I've had 3 near-life experiences. First one I called a near-death experience because I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
I now call it a near-life experience because I learned to live life to its fullest. In that moment, you're like, nothing's going to stop me now. Where we call it a near-death experience so that people don't think we're weird. You, young lady, are weird. Period. End of story. Own it. If you speak like everyone around you, you are going to suffer because you're not going to live your dream. Well, I don't want to upset them. Screw it. You're going to tick off a lot of people. And the sooner the better. If you ain't got haters, you ain't doing enough. And what do we call haters? Confused followers. So I would offer you to shift those. Because everybody has what you talked about. Everybody has fear. If you can shift it, because imagine if you said to your grandmother, listen, I'm going to talk to you about spiders. Could she hear anything that you were about to say?
No, she probably would be like, stop talking.
And so everybody you're about to go talk to about what it is you have to offer cannot hear you. They can't.
So why do you think that this was so insightful for me? You don't think it would be the same for someone else?
Because you learned how to speak to the opposite. You went down the rabbit hole that nobody wants to go down. So now what if you create, I don't know, the bunny rabbit hole and you go upwards. You take people that have more of what they want, not more of what they don't want. You talk about fear, everybody can speak the fear. Everybody speaks fear language, but nobody wants to do anything with it. It causes their signal to add a protection lever, to pull the protection lever that says, I need to be safe. This isn't safe for me. And they can sit there and go, yeah, oh, this is great. Oh, no, I want to get wellness. I want you to make my tinctures and teas. Hell no, because what do I tell my friends when I'm healthy? When I lose 30 pounds and none of my clothes fit? Last time I did that, I sold all my clothes. I got to buy a new, and this is going on in their subconscious. We have to cause people to dream, not to relive their nightmares. And the majority of people's conversations, because it's easy. You know how easy it is to scare somebody? How easy it is to bring up a memory that scared you. Listen, you may have had a near-death experience. You know what they're thinking of all of their near-death experiences? Oh, my cat almost scratched my eyes out.
Yeah.
That's
and then
not
you
a
trigger
near-death
their nervous system. And
So once you trigger the amygdala, how much of their prefrontal cortex shuts down? 25%. You're now talking to an idiot.
Yeah.
And you wonder why you're struggling. You wonder why this would be so good for them. They said they wanted this. You triggered their amygdala and made them an idiot.
Yeah. I also learned about that part in our brain that wants to fit in, which is like a tribal part of our brain. Because if you were rejected back then, you didn't have food or fire or protection. And that's another reason why. Mm, interesting.
Especially females. And the reason is because based upon times of the past, caveman time, we had to go hunt. We may do one or two together, depending upon how big the animal was.
Yeah.
If you were going to have a baby and you wanted to go pee, somebody had to watch the baby. I want to go pee. I go stand by a tree, and the other guys are like, oh, go. And nobody cares. I didn't. That's why I don't need to go to the men's room with 3 guys.
Wow, that's so interesting.
I got to go to the bathroom. I'll go with you.
The whole group of
Yes, the
girls
whole
go.
group goes, and then you're in there and you're fixing your eyelashes and you're talking while you're on the toilet peeing. Hey, did you see the guy at table 7? I know he's a hottie, right? And you're going pee. Oh, it's like, what the hell is going on? So your brain is completely different. Women's brains are completely different than men's brains. So, and here's the thing. Let me see if I can think of something. What seat did you sit in on the plane coming back from India?
I don't remember exactly, but it was the back of the plane
The back of the
where
plane.
you feel everything more.
Yeah. So the back of the plane. What 6 other thoughts did you just have while you were getting to the back of the plane?
I was seeing the inside of the plane.
Yeah, the inside of the plane. Were you thinking about boarding and sitting in the
No, I
boarding?
was just seeing like a dark inside of the plane.
Oh, so now it's a dark inside of the plane. See, we get more stuff. And this is before we got to the back of the plane. We saw the dark inside of the plane. So let me ask you, if I say, let's go sit in the back of the plane, you think you're going to have the dark side of the plane image show up again, whether you consciously know it or unconsciously know it? So every time you say back of the plane, I didn't ask you. I said, what do you remember about the flight? What seat did you sit in? Well, I don't remember the seat, but I remember it was the back of the plane was a dark. I just saw the dark. All I said, what seat did you sit in? Do you see how many thoughts you had? You ask a guy, I think it was the aisle row 15 or something. Your brain has to go into protection mode because it was scary. Oh, it's dark. And now you got to justify it. It was dark. Did they not have any lights on the plane? What did they send you on with a candle?
The lights went out.
Well, there you go. You see what happens? You see how all these stories come in? And so when you're having a conversation with somebody, just imagine you're triggering the dark of their own plane.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Right?
100%.
And so you're just saying, hey, listen, I came back from India and I had a near life experience. You say that and somebody's going, ooh, what does that mean?
Yeah. You want to shift their perspective.
You want to keep them, you have control over their frequency. If they're listening to your signal, they're constantly tuning in, trying to follow you. Remember, the brain does nexting.
Okay.
And if you say, I had a near death experience, they're like, shit, you may as well just end the conversation now.
Yeah. Yeah. And what triggered this,
It's a
I
great
think,
story.
yeah, just even being reminded of how much people fear death makes me want to speak on this. It makes me, in my own life and myself, to eradicate that fear, but I forget my thought process and desires and mind is very different than most of the world. And I actively want to go into my fear and I want to uncover it, but a lot of people, that's not their initiation into even thinking or caring about that.
So, all explainable. You can go down every one of those paths if you set them for the stage. Sometimes you need them to simply be the witness and they can get off the bus while you go tell the story.
Yeah.
But they're wanting you to keep them on the bus. And if you don't ever let them off the bus when you tell the scary stuff, they're going to be lost and they're going to get off in the middle of the horror story and be stuck in the middle of no man's land. This is what we call being triggered. How many of us have been in places where we got triggered? Oh my God, the sound triggers me. That music triggers me. The sound of the car, sound of a car accident triggered me. I couldn't get out of bed for 2 days. You got triggered.
Mm-hmm.
And if you trigger somebody, there's usually a bullet that got fired.
Mm.
And that bullet's going to kill something.
Yeah. And this experience for me actually gave me and is giving me more empathy and understanding for other people's fears and triggers and their own neurosis, because I feel prior to that, I didn't have anything deep enough that affected me to the point of having a thought put me into fight or flight.
So here's the big question. Did that near death, aka near life experience, at what point did it exist?
In the moment that I was in the past.
You want to hear the real secret? It already existed before you had it. The only reason you could recognize it is that you found a moment to where you could bring it to light. There's nothing in your life, ladies and gentlemen, that hasn't already existed in your universe, because otherwise you can't experience it.
Yeah, and there's so many timelines going on. And the interesting part about that flight was I got on that flight because I overstayed by 1 day in India, so I got stuck there. And I had to go through this crazy process to get an exit visa. I missed my other trip where I was supposed to go to Italy and Switzerland. So it was this whole chain of events that got me onto that specific flight. And I look back now and I'm like, okay, I see the storyline.
So here's how you might tell that story. Here's a path you might take with what you just shared with me.
Hmm.
Any of you ever, what would happen if you stayed a day later in a country that you were supposed to be out of? So I was supposed to leave a country. You're supposed to leave a country on Monday, and you're there till Tuesday.
I was there for an extra week.
Okay, so what happens if you overstay where your exit date? And just let people wander. If I were to ask the audience here, what happens, do you think, if you're in a country and you overstayed the date you were supposed to leave? Are they real excited that you stayed? No, they want you the heck out, and you got to go do different things. You got to go through, right? Imagine if you lost your receipt at Costco. You got to go back and print it out. What a pain in the neck. You stay over a day in a country that you had a particular departure date on, they get a little mad. Here's my point that people need to be with you, Selena. How many of you have overstayed your life of average, wanting to depart to get to your success land, and you have stayed way too long in average? Do you know how hard it is to leave every day you stay in average land? Every day you got to go back to the consulate and get a departure visa. It's called permission to live your dreams. Every day you got to go back. And listen, they may put you, when they want you out of their country, they'll put you on a chicken flight. They'll put you on a cargo flight. They'll put you on the baggage flight. They'll stick you in a compartment. And I can promise you, it's probably not going to be the best flight. I had a near life experience. Some of you would call it the other. But I thought, man, if I get through this, I'm going to live my life to the fullest. Because there was moments where I thought it wasn't going to happen. I was praying for life.
Yeah.
Like I'd never prayed for life before.
Mm-hmm.
And simply because I stayed too long, I got this experience. I wouldn't recommend it, but boy, I wouldn't change it. And now you give people hope that they can have their near death experience, and it now transitions into a near life experience. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. And you have 1,001 stories, 1,001 stories just from the last year. 1,001, 2,001. I promise you.
You know what's interesting is when
you got 25 keynote speeches just from the airplane, just from the week of extended stay.
Very true. When I landed, I was grateful to land. And the interesting thing, everyone else in the plane, like no one talked about it and no one like said anything. And then I got an ear infection the minute that I landed.
Wow.
Because I had my headphones on and I was sweating so much that I guess it caused an ear infection. So then for the next month or two, I was sick, like fatigued, couldn't do anything, like kind of depressed, really bad experience. And it took me up until about a month ago to catch up to myself. And then it took me getting fired from my job a week ago to have this like full circle experience from that moment, which happened last night at like 3 in the morning.
Wow. So how's the DIY method working?
It's rough.
I wouldn't recommend it.
It's rough.
I wouldn't recommend the DIY method.
I reached out to you.
I know
reached
you
out
did,
to
but
you.
after a month of being sick, are you nuts?
I
just
was
wanna
like, I
shake
need you.
I want to shake you. What did you wait for? Oh my goodness. I'll give you a little knock on the head, and then I'll give you a big hug and a kiss. Knucklehead. Yeah, don't do that. That was all energy. You know why you got sick? Because you had a life-changing experience, and you didn't want to have to deal. You couldn't have a good story. I'm serious. You go back and you read the tea leaves. You got through oh my God, I feel alive. I'm going to do this. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And as soon as I landed, I got sick. Got an ear infection.
Like right when I got off the plane, it was insane.
Wow, shocking. How did it know? What if you taxied a little bit longer? Oh, we can't do the ear infection until she touches the ground. No, was this back in the stateside? Was this stateside when it happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Right
Shocking.
back in Miami.
Yeah, wow. I'm back in the place I know. So let's make it difficult. I left when it was difficult. So now let's make it difficult when I come back. Let's repeat the story. Just let me pick up right where I left off.
Yeah. And
Isn't
I
that
drifted
crazy?
very far. Yeah.
So now you have to become aware of, oh my God, I did do it to myself. Don't do that. Go, isn't that fascinating? I love that. Because if you think about it, you're going to have your other ear is going to hurt. If you don't want to be sick, don't talk about sick people. If you want to be rich, don't talk about poverty. If you want to be healthy and you want to be this huge content creator who people buy your stuff, don't talk about how you can't sell stuff. That's a riggedy. I really like him sometimes. Like 80% of the time, I like this guy. But don't talk about what you don't want. You can go search it. Listen, I go search on fear all the time. I go, how do I get people to recover from that? What's the story that everybody see? Because if anybody else went to ChatGPT and typed in the same stuff, there's a chance they'll get something similar. So if I know everybody's going to search that, how do I take that and give them the it's called the law of polarity. If you're 1,000 miles away from me, I have to be 1,000 miles. I can't be one more inch farther away than you. It's called the law of polarity. And if I know everybody's going to fear-based, I go to success-based using the same language they have. And they go, oh my God, I've been doing that. And I change their signal, and I influence their signal so much that they got to hang around me to have their signal. That I got to tune in to Sean, WIIFM. He's all about what's in it for me. He doesn't tell me what I did right or did wrong. He says, why not look at it this way? Sometimes it hurts, but most of the times it's why did you look at this? And that's what your goal is. How do you get people? Don't let them shift your signal. And don't let life experiences give you definitions that you would never use. You wouldn't use it. You don't want near-death experiences. How many times do you want to die? Or how many times do you want to live?
And it's coming closer to the truth of what it means to live.
Yep. And so I had some come to live my life at a new level experiences. Most people call them near-death experiences. I think, that's the first time I lived. I never lived on a plane coming back from India like this. It was the best flight ever. I will never forget it. That's how good it was. And people are like, I got to hear this story. Once you set their stage that this is going to be a cool story, they're okay with the vulnerability. They're okay with you getting slapped around and knocked around.
Yeah. So
because the outcome is good. Because the outcome is good.
Okay. So originally you start with a positive, good story.
How many of you have had an experience that you've never forgotten? How many of you, maybe that wasn't the most positive experience in your life? There've been some positive ones. I can promise. Here's what I know for a fact. When I say how many of you have had some experience, unless they're very young, how many of you have had experiences you'll never forget? The majority of people will go negative because their brain right? We can count the positive neurons and the negative neurons in the brain. The left prefrontal cortex stores the negative and the right prefrontal cortex stores the positive. We can literally count them. Most people are wired for negative. The majority, 99% of the people are wired for negative. And if you say, how many of you have had life experiences that you probably haven't forgotten? They're instantly going to negative. And here's what you could say. How many of you thought of your first kiss? Now, and I get to say this. Now, ladies, that might have been a real scary first kiss, right? You didn't know you were kissing the St. Bernard, right? I can make that fun. You could also. But no, I promise you, nobody went to think of their first kiss. Maybe moms may have thought of their babies when they had their baby. But it's very rare that they went positive. I hadn't, and you get to say this, I had an experience that really made me count the seconds of my life.
Hmm.
And because I have a mentor and a friend who offered me a new way to look at it, I now call it a near life experience. You let them fill in the near death experience.
So can you explain to me one more time
Sure.
why I'm making that shift? Because I was like super set on like the education path of explaining fear, but obviously
Well,
looping it back around to like remedy how to break through that. But I felt like it was important to explain it.
mhm.
So I just want to like deeper understand this like shifting of communication.
Sure. Like, like when, like you have it's like the reason that you want to do it is we never learn stuff to teach others. We learn it to justify ourselves.
Yeah.
And your brain is currently wired to understand how you got there.
Yeah.
Well, I don't need to know how you got there. You're already standing there. GPS is already triggered to where you're at. You're not putting in the code to where you want to go. You're putting in the code to where you're at, and GPS is saying, okay, you don't have to move. Now, this is what's called intention.
I get you.
You can go study all of that stuff because that's where they're at. Don't bring them to that. Know that most people are there. So say, the other day I went off on a wild goose chase. And I don't know, call me crazy. I went to learn about fear. Anybody here need to learn about fear? How many of you think you got a PhD in fear? Right? My PhD stands for pilot higher and deeper. How many of you would love to learn how to take that same knowledge you have about fear and turn it into success? I'm in, right? Same content. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. So it's great you did it, but the frequency with which you were about to explain it and where you spent your time and got all excited, I now know fear. Who the hell wants to know fear? You didn't do it to know fear. You did it. How do I avoid it? But the way your vibration came off is, oh, let me tell you what I learned about fear. It's like, shit, what the hell we're going to talk about snakes and rhinoceroses and giraffes scare me. Why would I don't want to talk about things that scare. That's why you have to have humor. Who here who here really studies fear? Or who has enough fear in their life they don't even want to study it anymore? Raise your hand if you could avoid a fearful day from this day forward, raise your hand. Everybody will raise their hand. But the challenge is everything they're about to go do that's different is going to trigger their fear, but they don't see it that way. Everybody goes to the scariest spider, snake, dog barking at them, growling there, rah, 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 right? Everybody's fear is different. Nobody needs to study fear. Please tell me how to avoid this. And all you're doing is shifting their energy through education, information, through food. Food is just energy, right? And we can change the state of food simply by praying over it. Research and science has proven that too. So my point is that you can say, listen, I went off on a wild goose chase to study fear. And what I found was it wasn't fear I was looking to learn about. I was looking to learn, why do I fear success? I don't fear fear. I'm willing to go do. How many of you are willing to do the unknown so you could have what you wish for? If we have a clear enough vision, it's no longer scary, is it? That's what my conversation with you today is about. How do we go do the thing we want to do without triggering, without having all of those moments where we were unsure pop back up into our life? Would it be okay if we understood how to use fear as fuel? How many of us have heard that saying? I'm like, I don't know how the hell that works. What if we could use our fuel for our fear turn it into fuel to have more of what we want? So because most people, you're going to study what most people won't. Nobody's really an expert on fear. Psychologists aren't even.
Yeah.
Right? My goal is you go study it. I study failure all the time. I also study success. I study success probably twice as much as I study fear. So go study. Now that you went and did ChatGPT, go back into that same thread. Don't start a new one so it has all the memory right there. Go back into that same one and say, now tell me the converse to every conversation we had in here. Tell me the exact opposite. Tell me how all of this, tell me how I would train on success on these particular topics. Give me the 7 bullet points that we covered and go one by one. This is the prompt. I would just go one by one of each of those bullet points and give me the absolute psychology of the success of every one of those discomforts. And it'll say, wow, you're onto something here. That's a great way to change things. And it'll start going and it'll give you all of the opposite. And now you have the comparison. It's the same thing. It's simply the vibration is different.
Yeah. Very profound.
Welcome to the show.
Wow.
And here's the other thing. Please revisit the feeling when I said, stop talking about that. You're like, but
Yeah, I was like, what the heck?
That feeling you have is the exact same feeling everybody you're about to talk to when you say talk to them about nutrition and meal plans and all of this stuff. But I want to tell you about my pain. No, you don't get to tell me about your pain. I don't need to know your pain. You're in pain. You're in pain? Yeah, that's it. That's the last time we talk about it. Because if I have to listen to it, you literally put it into the ether.
Yeah.
You're coming into
true.
my house, putting your crap on my walls, and I got to deal with the crap on your walls.
Okay. I'm hearing.
You hear it?
Yeah.
So the fact that you know it, don't tell anybody you know it.
Yeah. Because you're wiring it again into your mind and you're affirming the very thing that you're trying to change.
And you talk about a near-death experience on a plane. You know how many people have had grabbed the armrests and crushed them? Nobody's going to hear you after that.
Yeah.
What you're doing, your goal is to give people control. Yes. Don't give them a chance to lose control.
That was a point that came up last night when I was studying about the connection of loss of control. And that was something that's why it was such a fearful experience for me because of that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Weren't you in control? I mean, you could have
In my
lost
mind,
control.
yes. In my mind, yes.
Yeah. So then where else could you have had control? You weren't flying the plane. You weren't
Yeah.
creating the weather. It is what it is. I love when there's turbulence on a plane because I get to really watch people's phobias show up. And it has nothing to do with flying. It just happens to be the thing that triggers all of their phobias. And you can tell what the phobia is in everybody. Whether their mother didn't like them, whether they're divorced, you can see it all in their face. They literally scream it with their energy. And then what happens when you see other people get scared on a plane? What happens to everybody else?
Yeah.
I was landing in Heathrow Airport. 777. Big plane. Right? 777. 353 in the back. And we were 2, 2, and 2 in business class. And we hit so hard, it was bumpy. We hit so hard. We hit hard. We landed hard. The oxygen masks fell out. Now, if that was a plane landed in Puerto Rico, it would have been bedlam and chaos and mayhem, but it was a bunch of Brits.
Yeah, it's so crazy the different I was in from Portugal,
Yep.
and it was so interesting to see the difference in reaction and just the silence and the way people
Culture.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought people were gonna get on the ground praising Jesus and screaming and clapping. And
Yep.
afterwards, I had to talk to three different people, and I was like, "Are you? Was I delusional? Like, did that actually happen?" It almost felt like it invalidated my experience, which is so crazy.
Ego is a big thing. So you could tell that now the Brits will get uptight, and you could tell who wasn't British because there were screams when the oxygen mask came. Because then we bounced. We hit, oxygen mask came out, and we bounced and we landed again. We hit again. And the pilot comes out, of course, he goes, well, that was fun, wasn't it? I was laughing. I almost was laughing out loud, so out loud. And the woman sitting next to me, she says, are you okay? I said, wasn't that the best? This will never happen again. That's the best. Listen, wheels down is a good landing.
Yeah, it's true.
Wheels down is a great landing. I don't care how it. Listen, if you've flown into Portugal, Lisbon, right? Have you ever
Yeah.
flown into Lisbon, Portugal? Okay, that's the one where you can see the runway. If you're sitting on the pilot, on usually the pilot side, you can literally see the runway because the plane is coming in sideways because the wind is so bad. They got to crab in, and you're literally looking down at the runway, and then the last second they go boom. It's the greatest thing ever. You can tell who's their first time into Lisbon, Lisboa. They are screaming. You can literally hear them screaming. Literally, there's the runway right in front of you. There's the runway, and the plane's coming in sideways. And just as it touches down, greatest flight ever. Love Lisboa. Anyways,
Life is a trip.
so see how you're feeling different now than you were when you tell them the story about the near-death experience? It had you so wound up. Your spirit wasn't here. Your spirit's here now. You can go tell the story now, laughing just like that. Tell it from this state. You can tell the most scariest story from this state. Oh my God, I was on the plane. And if you go into that state of being back on the plane, you have to become the reporter when you tell scary stuff, even when you tell success stuff, because then people go, oh, yeah, see, it's easy for you. You have to tell it from the reporter's perspective. Because they can be the reporter. They're the audience listening to the reporter. If they're listening to you, it's just you bragging about your near-death experience.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how it's not about doing certain things, but it's about doing them in a certain way? It's like, oh my God, nobody ever told me that. They won't, because they don't even know. This is when you understand, when you spend your life understanding it's never the words, it's your frequency. It's you could tell us, and then all of a sudden we had this other drop. I looked over to my right, and somebody's food tray was like up into the ceiling. It was the craziest thing ever, and it scared the hell out of you. But you could be laughing, telling it now. Going, I mean, I was watching. I thought we had magicians on the plane. There were forks levitating through the cabin. It was the craziest thing ever.
Yeah, that's a completely different experience when you explain it like that.
And so now people can go on the flight with you because now they can think about their own flight in a funny way. But if
Yeah.
you show up and say, "Hey, listen, oh man," and you go into that, I thought my life was going to die. I was like thinking, who do I love? And who did I say I'm sorry, right? And people are like, oh my God, no.
And then they're traumatized for the day.
Yeah, and they can't hear nothing.
Okay, that's powerful. Yeah, it's different when you actually think about other people. Because for me, I get a little bit stuck in my perception and that people think the way
No,
that I think.
really. We could use a world full of Selenas. We sure could, but we ain't got them. We only got you, so nobody thinks the way you think. You can give them all the credit they want. They ain't going to think the way you think. They ain't had your experience. Nobody can think the way you think. I love you.
Love you so much.
Because
Thank you.
I knew you were a little mad at me, and I said, okay, we're going to get through this. But if I said, well, okay, so no, and if I wasn't a good mentor, I would have let you go off on that tail.
Mhm.
Now you can go tell me all that you learned about it, but not from the state you were in. You were going to wire that in. I learned this. I know. Fear. No. Fear's an interesting thing I studied. You were becoming it. I didn't need you to be the author of it. I need you to be the reporter of it. You can now be the reporter of it. You can tell everything you learned from this state, from this place, and nobody's going to go down the hole with you. Oh my gosh. I couldn't sleep one night, and I went off on a rabbit trail. How many of you really want a PhD in fear? I kind of went and got it, so y'all don't have to. Let me tell you what I learned. It was scary. And now all of the people are like, okay, I can sit on the park bench with you. Life is like a box of chocolates, right? And you can go, fear is like a box of chocolates. Which one are you going to pick out?
So those little things that you do, what would you call that?
Those are little stories, little interludes.
Interludes.
Memes, right? They're memes. I have this.
Lighthearted.
Yeah. It's because you're about to talk about something really, it's a pattern interrupt, because they're all going there and they'll follow
That
your
could be my
frequency.
issue. I think I could be a little bit too I
Too
just open the
intense.
closet of skeletons, just like
Yeah.
look at all this.
Look at all of this, because you could stand there and look at it, but everybody else is like, oh my God, I look at my.
And then they unfollow me. Okay, this is a big perspective shift, and I'll practice
And listen, we all go through
lighthearted
it.
interludes.
My first year, you know why I'm pretty good at this? Because my first year in network marketing was 80 grand in debt, because nobody told me about this. They didn't. I was in sales for a decade already. And when I learned about this, when I went into that, I'm like, well, it's sales, it's this, it's that. I understood how to hold people accountable. I didn't understand how to motivate people. When people work for you, you don't really need to be a motivator. You're accountability, because if they don't do it, you fire them.
Yeah.
We can't fire anybody who comes into our world. They can quit, but we can't fire them. And when we talk like this, they quit. We don't even have to fire them. They quit. We're like, why doesn't anybody? This is all good stuff. It's good stuff. Listen, first year I had good stuff. I'm the killer of sales training. It doesn't work in this profession. You got to learn how to allow the inspiration, the enthusiasm, inspire the God within. And the challenge is we're going to talk to them about 2 decades ago. We're going to talk to people about something they've never done, which is going to cause them to think a way they've never thought, which is going to cause them to feel a way they never felt. Last time I checked, that is the freaking tsunami of disaster. Think about something you've never thought of. How the hell do I do that? Feel a way you never felt. I don't want to do that. And do things you've never done. What the hell? You think I'm nuts?
That's the
You want me
average
to do
person's
something I've
nightmare.
never done? Think a way I've never thought, to feel a way I've had. Well, I do want the thing I've never had. Well, then you got to do all this. I ain't doing it. Screw you. I'm not changing my identity for you. And see, I was having them change it for me. That's when I learned the simple phrase. How's that working for you? Not good. How long do you want to own that story? Not very long. Great. When would you like to change it? Now. You got anybody working on it with you? No. You want me to help you? Yes. Let's go. What do you want? Where do you want to start? I don't know. Well, when you figure that out, let me know. I can help you, because I can't tell you where to start. You're aggravating. You're right. I'm rich. Let's move on. It's never, I can't tell. Words don't teach. Words don't teach.
Hmm.
And so I can't use my words to teach. I use my words to cause you to dream. And I'd rather you not dream nightmares. Love it. You're the bestest.
Thank you. This is amazing.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And the queen of travel, the queen of epic travel, had her hand up. I don't know if she's still out there, if she had to go do stuff with Lola Poo.
No,
Hey, good morning.
I am still here. Good
Yep.
morning. But my brain is a bit scrambled this morning.
Okay.
And I just noticed that, yes, it's apparently very scrambled. So I was looking at my itinerary for my travel, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't start, my trip doesn't start till the 28th, but I'm flying out on the 27th, so I don't have a place to stay that night. Well, you know what, I don't book wrong. I never have, because I always am very meticulous to look exactly at the times, because all over the world time is different,
Yep.
and so on. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I am losing my mind. I mean, literally, this is what I thought when I was just looking at this morning. Well, I've been up since 1:32. I don't know
Wow.
why. And so I'm like, oh my God, I need to find another room. So then I'm waiting to get a turn to speak here. And I'm like, wanting to tell you how crazy I am. But then I look again and I'm like, oh no, I booked correctly, because I'm not flying out until on the 27th, until the night. And I'm not arriving to Peru until the next morning. Oh my God.
Look at you. You're a genius.
Well, no, I mean, but how could I not remember how that I had set that up?
Because you got up at 1 o'clock in the morning, your brain wasn't working all the way.
Well, I haven't had coffee yet. But I mean, it was working just fine, but then suddenly it got tired. But this happened before that. And I'm
Yep.
like, yeah. And so I'm messaging everyone saying I'm going to need to get an extra night. But and it's good, what what the good thing is, I did this on Telegram, and you know what I love about Telegram? When you delete a message for everyone, it's just gone. Like, it doesn't say you unsent the message, it doesn't say you deleted a message.
Right?
It's it's just gone. So I just deleted it. So I'm sure the people were reading it are like, what the hell happened?
Well, I see, when you told that, it gave me a great leadership story.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And so here's the story. You know how most people set a goal for their dreams and they want to arrive and they want to go on this journey called success? You know why
Yeah.
most people can't get past the first week of working on their success? Is because they book the flight to leave their current comfort zone. And when they arrive at the new destination, they never booked a place to stay. And so they got to go back home.
You're amazing. I mean, but
And you
then
get to tell that story. And you could say, and then I thought, oh my God, but I was leaving. I didn't check when I was leaving and I was landing on the right day. I had done it right. But boy, I was getting myself all worked up. I even put it into a chat going, I didn't book a hotel. And everybody's probably going,
yeah, I'm like, I need an extra night. Like, like, oh my God, look that I checked again. But I knew, because I mean, I booked just recently a rental car, because I have to drive to LA. I mean,
that's funny.
yeah, I mean, it's very crazy, because I even made a big post on Facebook about it too. There was one lady, she said, oh, this happens to me often. And I'm thinking, oh, honey, I'm not going to travel with you. I'm like, oh my God. But I mean, I've traveled so much, and till last year, I never overslept either. But when I was in Dallas last year, I totally overslept, and I never left a hotel room so fast in my life. But
Yep.
so I'm thinking, oh my God, is this continuing on? But no, it's wow. I'm like still blown away over my confusion.
I love it. Yeah, when you
I'm
travel that much, your brain does some things. I used to land in airports and walk into an airport in the Caribbean and I would call the office saying, I know I'm in St. Thomas. What am I supposed to be doing here? Why did I get on a plane to St. Thomas? I had a
Oh
ticket.
my God.
What am I doing in St. Thomas? They go, well, you're going to WAPA and you're going to go see Robles. I'm like, about what? She goes, that hell yeah, I don't know, Sean. You're on your own. Nina was my office manager. And I would call her. I go, Nina, what am I doing in St. Croix? She goes, you really, this isn't a habit. You just, now drinking was involved sometimes when you're in the islands. So that's not uncommon to not know where you're at. But
And here
anyway,
you are a very young guy. You can't even say you had a senior moment. I mean,
no, I know. I was in my 30s. I was in my prime.
yeah, there you go. And it's like people
Thank
still
God my
try to
mother
do
raised a
that.
good
So,
boy. Otherwise, I'd still probably be in the bottom of a jail cell somewhere.
oh my God, it's like,
Yeah, no, it was, well, in the islands, St. Croix, St. Thomas, you drive on the other side of the road.
yes, I've never been to
Yeah.
St. Croix, but I have been to St. Thomas. And yes, you certainly do.
So I would leave Puerto Rico, driving on the right side, land in St. Thomas, drive on the left side, land in St. Croix, drive on the left side. And it would be sometimes very late. And I wasn't sure. My brain would be off on it, thinking about stuff. And I wasn't sure which side of the road to be on.
Oh my God. I remember I was in St. Thomas with a friend and she rented a car, but she was not driving very well. And we would constantly have to yell at her, you're on the wrong side again, you're on the wrong side again. And you know, St. Thomas has very windy roads.
Well,
And it's like,
and the
this
wheel is on
woman
the
is
right
going,
as
yes,
yeah, and the wheel is
yes.
on the right side of the car. It's not on the left side like in England.
Yes, and like in Australia, it's on
Yes.
a yes. I don't know
But
why
yeah,
so it's even more confusing. No wonder
yeah,
the woman and I said, "Oh my God, this woman's gonna kill us."
yeah.
Yeah, so I need to like have a mental day. I think it's pretty crazy when
You
I'm
need,
doubting what I booked. Oh my God.
good news is that your subconscious did all the right things for you.
Well, I'm like, okay, I don't even know why I went back to look at my ticket. I looked at my ticket like, no, I'm flying out at 9:30 at night on the
Oh yeah.
27th
Yep.
because I took the overnight flight.
Yep.
So, yes, anyway, if this happens to other people, maybe they can relate, or people will just think I'm totally crazy. And I'm not going to add this to to my post. I'm just going to leave it so other people can tell me how confused they are. That wasn't my purpose, but
Yep. Give them a chance to breathe. Give them a chance to exhale.
I'll go find Lola Beans and have a cuddle with her.
There you go.
Yes, like
My secretary, when I was in the corporate world for a network marketing company and I was traveling to Europe a lot, I would land places and I'd say, who's supposed to pick me up? And she would say, you don't know? I go, I guess if they want me to speak at their event, they'll come find me. I don't know who's picking me up. She goes, how can you fly 8 hours, 3 planes, and not know who's picking you? I go, because I'll just sit at the airport if nobody's picking me up.
well, don't they have a little sign usually? Sean G. Murphy.
Not in some of the. Well, you've been to Rome in different places. That usually they don't. I mean, no, not always, because they know me. They don't need. They don't know. It's usually they don't know what the person looks like. Everybody knew what I looked like because I was the VP.
I
I didn't know who was picking me
I
up.
see. Well, yeah. I mean, they should have.
And then in Latin America, 15 people would come to pick me up.
Oh,
7 cars would come, and it was.
well, that's very nice. An entire motorcade for
Yeah, it was
Sean
awesome.
G. Murphy.
It was awesome. I loved going to Costa Rica and stuff because 20 people would show up and they'd be all there.
Oh,
They were all my team, but anyways.
oh,
So
I
desire,
would
have
like
your
that too.
desire.
What about yes, my desire to get it right.
Yes. And see, your desire was strong enough that even in the haze of confusion of a 1 a.m. wake up, you're like, oh my God, I screwed up. I did this. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. No, I did it right. Your desire
Well, I
overran.
think my brain has been thinking I should have booked and I should have come a day early because I usually do that. And the woman had even asked me the other day, well, don't you usually come a day early? And I was like, yeah, I do. But this time I decided not to. And I think that was wrong because evidently I didn't read the itinerary kind of like you. So I find out that the day come in, then the next morning we go to Machu Picchu at 3 in the morning. I'm
Oh,
like,
well, alrighty. Better
but
sleep on the plane.
well, but it says you should have some time to um get used to the
Acclimate. Yeah.
acclimate. Thank you. I can't even think of that word. And so I'm like, oh, why did I do that? I mean, I added a day to, the end, but I didn't, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't read the itinerary. I didn't take the time like you. Well, when are we doing things? So anyway, I'm gonna make the best out of it.
I
I'm
love it.
sure, and I will see you later.
Sounds great. I love it. Give Lola Poo a big hug.
Lola Beans,
Lola Bean.
Lola Beans, and give Molly a big hug. She needs
I'll
a
give McGuire
probably.
a big hug. Yeah. Oh, my
You,
God. She's just, and she's in that phase where everything is just like a teenager where nothing seems to go right. It's the craziest thing.
well, she was. I mean, she was already all over the big boys when I was out there. I
Oh
can
yeah.
just imagine
She's
they're
taller
gonna
than
have
all of them.
they have to run from her now.
She's taller than all of them.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Every one of them. Seamus, she's 2 inches taller. Her head sits 2 inches taller.
How tall is she gonna get?
She'd probably grow another maybe inch or 2 inches.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she still shares the bed with you?
Yeah. Well, she'll get up there, and if it's and because Beamish must send his energy, she'll usually get down and sleep on the floor next to me.
Oh, because Beamish likes to sleep down on the floor?
Beamish kind of squeezes in between us, and he's very jealous.
Oh, I see. He doesn't want to share
He
it.
plays guilty. He plays guilty. He'll sleep on the foot. He'll sleep on the bench at the end of the bed if she's on there, and he's like, "I'm not getting up there if she's there." I don't care. You stay there, you little whiny baby.
That's so funny. Dogs are so funny.
Aren't they amazing?
Yes, yes, animals are amazing, and I think we can learn so much from them because, they never say they can't. They
Right.
always find a way. I mean, when you look at the horses, if they have an itch, sometimes they have an itch on their butt, and you see them they against the fence, and they itching their butt. And I remember Annie one time had an itch on her neck. She walked up to a pole. She found a pole to itch her neck. I mean, and humans are so dependent and they can't help themselves for things.
Right.
It's very strange.
Yep. I love it.
I love it too. All right, I
All
love
right.
you and
I
have a
love you. Have
most
a great morning.
thank you. Now that I have everything straightened out.
I love it. Love it. Love
Love you.
it.
Bye bye.
Bye for now. Hey, AJ.
Hey, just quickly, I know you are 2 hours deep. I'm gonna make it quick. Uh, gonna watch recording later. Just wrapped up another meeting. I
Awesome.
am officially an investor in a startup, another one apart from the restaurant. We're gonna be doing, actually, we already started this week. We're gonna be cleaning construction sites.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah, we employed 12 workers at this point. I'm the silent partner, just the same as in the restaurant. So the buddy of mine that we work together in the brokerage house, he's taking care of the logistics and people and everything.
Yep.
I'm just kind of sipping my coffee at the lake and just reaping the benefits, I guess.
So what's the mission of the company?
The mission of the company is okay. I'll give you this. The mission of the company is for people that move into their apartment. We want to make it feel like home
Okay.
as soon as they show up to even buy the place.
Okay. Now, if I were to go ask one of the 12 employees you hired I said, what is the mission of the company? Would they say anything near that?
Not sure. Probably
Oh,
not.
I can promise you, you know the answer to that. They're gonna
Yes,
go,
sir.
mission, we got to clean this crap up before somebody moves in.
Yeah, well,
So I would offer you the chance to give people ownership in the mission. You know, there's a difference. You know the story of the stone, right? The bricklayer, the stone cutter. There's two stone cutters at the church, right? They're building the cathedral, and one says, "What are you doing? I'm cutting this stone. That's all I do is I just cut the stone. I chip away and I cut." And they ask the next guy, "What are you doing?" I am carving a stone to a cathedral that will last 500 years. Same stones going to the same church. Different story.
for I presume Queen of Epic Travel is Silky.
Yes.
Yeah. So Silky, the benefits to me is monetary benefits are 25% equity, and non-monetary psychic um, benefits to me is expanding my network and making sure that people do buy a home, not just an empty apartment place. That's the thing. Now, what I wanted to say just quickly before we
Sure.
wrap up, I know you're deep in. I'm going to make it
Oh,
quick.
it's all good.
I want to say thank you for yesterday's conversation. I'm going to watch the recording of today. I want to say thank you for yesterday because as I was doing my 4 miles last night, I got thinking. I was listening to some material, and I got thinking. I think I even sent you the message with some thought. Yeah, some thoughts hit. I'm going to share them with everybody. So the thoughts I had last night as I was walking was number one, blindly trusting Sean, which I mentioned yesterday. Number two is being fascinated with things. Me personally, I'm fascinated by the market, real estate market, stock market, cryptocurrency market, equities market. I'm fascinated with the world of finance. That's my fascination. And then number three is something that through repetition, Sean instilled in me during our time at the ranch and in conversations that followed, which is having business class conversations and having a business class attitude, or as I formulated it last night, being a class act. And then this morning, as I woke up, I decided that all those three things combined are helping me actually walking my walk. What do I mean by that? I mean, starting to be a class act and starting to actually think about what I'm saying. Just as you, right now, when you asked me what's the mission of the company, I stopped for a second and I thought about it. I want to do more of that. So for me, that's being and having business class conversations. I want to thank you for that. Thank you for inspiring these ideas in me. I told my mom this morning that as of next month, I'm going to be taking care of her finances completely 100%. She's going to be taken care of. And she started crying over the phone. Why are you doing this? Blah, 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 standard conversation. And I said the same thing. I said, you know what? I get this a lot that I talk a big game. People say this a lot to me. And I know you mentioned this yesterday. I think Selena answered um, that when people look at us, the misfits, they think we're arrogant. They think we live in our own bubble. And you wouldn't believe it, but I get those word for word, those descriptions when I ask someone to describe me. They think I'm arrogant. They think I live in my own world. They think I'm living in this dreamland, this AJ planet. And I said, okay, you know what? I do talk a big game. However, I got big game, and I'm working towards it every day. And I'm gonna start working towards it. And this is the first step. So I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you from the top, bottom, sideways of my heart, within, deep, outside, the shadow, everything, the whole deal. I want to say thank you for the actually not just yesterday, but the last couple of days since we started thinking grow rich again. Thank you, thank you, thank you for inspiring some ideas in me because I get to walk the walk again now. So thank you.
You're welcome. And so my mind goes back to the guys of this new cleaning facility. Are they wearing gloves?
Yes, we got them the whole equipment. Yeah.
Now, I mean, they're wearing the Gore-Tex gloves, or they're wearing like leather gloves?
They have the one of those yellow latex kind of deals.
Okay. Go find white ones. Go into the pharmaceutical industry and find the white ones, so that when you hand them these gloves and say, listen, we are doing white glove. Imagine somebody cared enough about cleaning your home that they literally gave you the white glove treatment. Create a brand, create a story for these people, because those are your marketers. They're the ones, you've got 12 people who are going to put energy out. You and the partners have one vision, one frequency. You want to grow the business, right? You'd like to have 200 people working. Especially if you're the silent partner, right? But it's 3 versus 12. And until you get them on the team, you're going to be in conflict between what you think the company's supposed to do and what they think it's supposed to do. That's why you create a mission and a vision statement. So do something different. Give them a patch. Give them something to wear. Give them a pin that's a Serbian pin that is honor and respect for the country, for the people, for the local country, for the local market. Give them a pin to wear, right? In our government, we all wear a flag. Right? Give them the Serbian flag to wear. Something that says nobody else does it. And it's a little 50-cent trinket. But have them a chance to have pride in what they're about to go do, and it'll change everything. I was reading up on Ritz-Carlton. You know the Ritz-Carlton, right? How many of you know the Ritz-Carlton? Drop an RC in the chat. Ritz-Carlton has a rule. Some of you know it. Do some of you know that they have a $2,000 rule? Did you know they had a $2,000 rule? Every employee can spend $2,000 without asking to take care of a customer. What's the amount you give them a chance to spend? Now, most people, the average fix that every employee does is $200. The reason they give them $2,000 is because sometimes they need some bigger things. But because they're trusted with $2,000, people can come up with creative ideas for $200. And you hear stories about a guy in Atlanta flew to Hawaii, left his laptop and needed his presentation was on the laptop. And he called housekeeping and they had it and she could FedEx it, but she didn't think it was going to get there. Guess what she did? She could go buy a plane ticket, fly to Hawaii, drop it off and come back for less than $2,000. And she did it. She flew, brought it to him, got back on a plane, came back. The housekeeper. Give your people a chance to own this business. Because all of those 12 would be the first 12, right? The business just started, yes, or it has already been going?
It just started this week. This was
just
the first
started.
week.
So what if each one of them, what if you had 12 distributorships and 12 providences inside of Serbia? And these were the ones who started. How many times would you like to train people?
We're looking forward to that. Actually, so this week is the launch week. This is the grand debut.
Yep.
And I think they started on Monday, so 5 days counting today. I think they've gone through probably 30,000 square feet of space this week, and it's their first week. And so there was eight women that we employed. We immediately added 4. They're gonna start today. Actually, they started today already. So we have 12 now. We're gonna see how next week goes. This is unraveling rather quickly and rather profitably immediately.
So you need to ask the 8 or the 12, whoever it was this week. What do you need to do better? What do you need so you can do it better, faster, easier, less strain, less work? What do you need to make this better? What do you need so that you can be even more proud of this work? And I may or may not be able to do it for you, but what do you need? You just did your first week. I want it to be better, right? What's the principle of Kaizen? Every day, 1% better, 1% better. Could you imagine 300%? Because if they get better, guess what happens to your profit? it gets better. Because you get paid by the contract, not by the hour, right?
We get paid by square foot. Actually,
Right. So you
square
get
meter.
paid by the contract. You get paid your piecework. So you have to improve efficiency. They're not going to clean any less square feet, otherwise you'll lose the contract. They got to clean the same amount of square foot 10 times better than anybody else could. And that's kind of like grandma's recipe for her meatloaf for her beef stroganoff. It's got to be done with love. And if you can get them to work in love and you can get them to work in joy, how about this? What's the bonus for them for their, do they all have kids or not have kids?
I'm not quite familiar with that fact.
Really? You have people that are working for you don't know about it. Facet. I'm just a silent partner. You have 25% return. You should know at least what the hell's going on with the people. Where's your money? That's your money. They're your money's walking around on 2 feet and you don't know about them. I love you.
Sure. I said I was gonna blindly trust you.
What if every Friday you put up with oranges so they could take home to their kids? You want to know what the frick would happen? I don't know, but you know what would be. Bring them bananas. I don't know. But what would it mean if you showed up with something for their family?
We agreed today, me and my partner, we agreed to get them all signing bonuses, so they get their pay on Saturdays, which is tomorrow. I'm wiring the money today, so they're gonna receive extra on top of their weekly salary.
Why?
We got them what?
For their signing bonus?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Is that what you're going to call it? Signing bonus?
After
Just
this
asking.
conversation, we might change that idea and call it something different.
So what does it mean? So what does it mean when you have like a family reunion? There's another phrase in Serbian. I don't know. I'm just guessing the way that all languages are. What is the phrase that if you were driving by something, you would call it, oh, that's you could tell it's a gathering of community, people that we're having. It's not a petition. It's not a march. What would you call a gathering of people if you were driving by at the thing? They're having a party. Is there a phrase, a frequency of something? If they joined your community, because this is what you're building, is a cleaning community. Is there a phrase or something that would be typical, a cultural phrase of family? We call them, it's not a family reunion, it's a gathering.
Gosh, nothing really comes to mind.
Cult.
Yeah, nothing really comes to mind.
Okay, but so now that we've triggered it, something will happen while you're driving and you'll almost spill your coffee or your drink or something. You go, and that is the bonus, not a signing bonus. What you learn how to sign your name so you get a bonus? No, you don't want to bonus them you want them to be a part of the heartbeat. Here's your heartbeat bonus.
Isn't it when you sign your name on the SATs, you get 400 points?
Oh, you think so? That's probably why I got 450.
Yeah, you probably did a Sean G. Murphy, so they gave you an extra
I got
50 for G.
Yeah, I got the extra 50 points.
For the G. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna think
about that.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Here's the other thing. The 12 that started, or however many that started, ask them, who do you want to work with? What's the frequency? When we start to hire more people, what do you want them to be like? And ask them for input. You don't have to use it, but boy, you give them some ownership. If I was going to buy you a horse, wouldn't you tell me what kind of horse you want? If you're going to go buy more horsepower, wouldn't it be good if they could all pull the same yoke, work in harmony? Listen, I don't know about you, but I know here in Clinton, Arkansas, there's a side of town that people will hang out with those people on that side of town. There's another side of town people won't hang out with those people. I know Irish are that way. I think Serbs are probably that way too. There's a particular group of vibrations that she's a blah, blah, blah.
It's a particular group of nationalities that
Yes, right.
that we
So all of
don't.
that to say, but ask them two things. And I would put it in a box, and I would give a reward for the best ideas. I would start that now and give the reward. Just don't create a suggestion box and read it and never get any paybacks. But I would surprise you could go a long way with, I don't know, donuts for everybody. You want to create a story right now that is so powerful that people are lining up going, I know people when there's a waiting list to join Ruth Chris as a waiter, because you can make 100, 200, 300 bucks a night. There's a waiting list and you have to apply. You have to show up. You got to interview to get a waiter's job. Imagine if people were showing up to get a job at your company. You never had to run an ad again. What do you think you could charge then? If you had consistency and never had this and could expand instantly, you got a waiting list of 50 people that all of a sudden convention center just had something and they couldn't get anybody and you needed to have 50 more people. Boom. And the 50 people already working could instantly train them.
I'll say
'Cause
this:
it's not,
there's definitely, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. no,
There's
no,
room
that's
for
good. I
potential.
hear you.
There's room for potential because my partner got into this job in the first place because his father-in-law owns one of the biggest construction companies in Serbia, and this apartment complex that they're building, that's his father-in-law project. So we kind of keep it in the family,
Sure.
so to
Yep.
speak. And I gotta say, and I gotta give some credit to my partner because when we had this conversation, hence why I missed the call, he offered these somewhat to your ideas.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't exactly on the spot, however, he was probably 70% there.
Well, hey, listen, that's
So
70% more than somebody else who's running a cleaning company.
I think we're on the right path here. And I know that because I get to work with you. And I get
Well, hey,
to,
listen, I'm only a t-shirt away from a phone call. Now you can give me a t-shirt with the name of that cleaning company on it.
oh no, Bubba, you're an hour flight away from Romanian DHL before a t-shirt. That's how long away you are from a t-shirt. Yeah, that's great. And you know what? I'm loving the fact that I had this conversation with this guy because this guy is 40. And
Oh, wow. Oh my God. How does he get out of bed in the morning?
the guy's done. I mean,
He's
he's
done. He's like
done.
cooked, baked. Oh my God. That's like somebody's going to
Fossil.
take over this company.
I well, that's why I'm here.
Yeah,
Anyhow, we had a joke as we spoke about it, amongst other things. We agreed on some things,
yep.
just as you said. We're gonna give them a bonus in terms of monetary compensation,
Mhm.
and I told him that if he can't find time during the day because he has other projects as well, I will take the liberty to go
Mhm.
there, get them lunch, bring them something, refreshments, whatever.
Yep.
And he said, "Oh wow!" And then we started talking about it, and I kind of proposed the plan for going forward, and he loved it. And
Mhm.
then he said, "Wow, man, how old are you again?" I said 24, and I said, "Well, how old are you?" Because we're guys, we don't know each other's age. I mean, we don't care. So,
Right. Yeah.
so he said I'm 40. I'm like, oh, geez, okay. I'm just kidding. And he said, "Wow, you got. Where would I be right now if I had those ideas back then?" And I told him about you. I told him about some stuff that I've been doing and I'm very proud of doing. And he said, "Man, we're gonna do some good stuff here." And I said, From your mouth to God's ears." That's saying in Serbia. So thank you for inspiring some ideas and helping me find my way. Thank you. I am grateful more than you know.
And can you imagine? We haven't even gotten to December yet. Look at all of the things you got going. And it's starting to steamroll, isn't it? People want
Yeah, man,
money.
the ROI for me particularly on this is according to projections right now.
Yep.
I don't want to jinx it. According to projections that we have at the moment, within 3 months period, it is going to be 70% on revenue.
Yep.
So I'll probably give them around $1 million. That's about $10,000 over the course of 3 months.
Yep.
I should be expecting about 65 to $7,000. I mean, 70% on revenue.
Yep.
And keep in mind, I have 25% equity. So this guy is going to make a lot more. And he should, because
You
he's taking
should,
care
yeah,
of a
he's
lot of
doing the
things.
work.
He's doing the work. I'm just kind of sipping coffee out there.
You get paid ideas. You get paid 25% for your ideas. I'm okay with that.
And for my liquidity. And
Well,
I'm
yeah,
totally
but I
fine
mean,
with that.
it's you had to have the ideas to create the liquidity.
I am totally fine with that and super grateful for that.
Yep. And
This
that's
was
okay.
another idea I had this morning. Thank you for that as well. You inspired it. Is that I noticed that I oftentimes wake up groggy and think about, oh, I gotta trade, I gotta go to the gym today. What day is it? Oh, I got this, I got that. And this morning I woke up and I gotta say that for the first time in a while, I was aware that I am excited for my day. I'm excited to get to talk to this guy, get to talk to all of you. I get to do this and that. I know there's a lot of eyes in this conversation. That's how it is today. I'm just grateful, just super
So when you
grateful.
go when you go see your folks, learn their kids' names, learn their names, get good at remembering names, get good at remembering names, and say their names, but learn their kids' names. When you see them, that's what they're doing this for. Not one of them is wanting to clean a office building or 1 square foot of anything. They're doing it for their family. Learn about their families. Be there when somebody says, "Oh my gosh, my kid needs." I have somebody in the Philippines, Ria. She works for me, but there's times where her kids want to go play soccer. I sponsored their soccer team. They all got T-shirts that said Sean Murphy on them. It was $100, right? Because T-shirts, right? It's not hard to get uniform, and they were sexy looking uniforms. I said, "You got to send me one." She said, "I don't know if they make them that big."
Yeah, they probably got the extra small
Yeah,
out there.
it's like,
Yeah.
and that's a large. My point is that get to know their families, be a resource for them. You'd be surprised. One of the things in Africa, you know about microloans, right?
Yep.
They started with microloans, and they were giving them to guys, and the repayment was horrible, like 5%. They give microloans to women, it's 97% repayment. So you want to go start a business? Start with some women. You want to talk about some strong women? I bet you got some strong women on your team, and you'll go through them. They'll self sift out, but you have got some opportunities to create some incredible leadership in a world that's typically a man's world. Imagine if you started 12 new businesses with these women 5 years from now.
That's exactly the conversation I had with my partner before. He said to me, I loaned him some money some time ago when he was in need, and he wanted to pay me interest. I said, no, no way. So he gave me the money back. And when we had lunch the other week prior to going into this business,
Yep.
he said, you know what? The reason why I came to you, amongst other people I know, is that when I needed something, you gave it to me and you didn't ask for nothing back, wouldn't even take interest on it or whatever. I said no. And he said, those are the kind of people that you want to do business with. And you want to, so this is what I'm quoting. He said, you want to remember the people and offer them opportunities when you have them, that when you didn't have nothing, they were there with you. So you want to remember those people and you want to share that across. So I asked for 2 minutes. You gave me back tenfold. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll talk to you soon, Bubba. Love you.
All right. Enjoy. And listen, here's the neat thing. I want to know about it so I can activate more of that energy, because everybody who's still here listening to this, or anybody who listens to this recording, can get inspired by it. And we need that energy in the world. That shows, oh my gosh, well, if you could do it, I could do it. And if you're doing it, I should be able to do it. Well, I can't do it. But no, all of this is available to all of us. So there you go. Love it, love it, love it. Thanks for sharing.
Here it is.
Yeah.
This is the secret recipe.
It doesn't say wish and grow rich. It says think. It doesn't say
Hey.
work hard and grow rich.
One thing, just quickly, one thing. I got this. I thought about bringing it to you, actually. I know you won't understand it, but just for you to have it for your shelf. So this is Think and Grow Rich in Serbian.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, no, I recognize that.
Sure. And the reason why I chose to study it in English is because I noticed there are some messages and some things that get lost in the translation. Starting with the title. In Serbian, they said misli obogati se, which literally means think and get rich, not grow rich. So I was like, okay, I'm going to study it in English. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, brother. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Hey, Dovey. Hey,
Love ya.
Dovey. Say hi. Say hi to AJ. Say hi. Hi, AJ. I'm your head brain training, brain scrambling, thinking and grow riching misfit. What is it, Molly? I'll see y'all where? Ow, ow, ow.
The
At
next
the next
event.
event.
At the next event. Somebody give me some Costa Ricas.
Pura
Pura
vida.
vida.
Yes, get them. And some Lydias.
Peace be
Be
with
Peace
us.
be with
Peace
us.
be with us all. And the queen of helping you grow rich through thinking new thoughts, Jessie Lee Ward.
Bossy,
Bossly, baby.
Boss Lee. And a little white fluffy.
gurgly,
Hey, Molly.
gurgly,
Gargly, gargly.
Look at the size of Molly. Hey, Molly, come here. Look at the size of Molly.
Oh, god damn.
Molly's a little giant. Yes, she
Look
is.
at that. That's a
Look at that,
bear
Molly.
right there.
Molly. Yeah, and that's just her. Yeah, she barely even has to jump up to get in my lap. All right, see you tomorrow. We'll talk about something. Come with your questions. Come with your what do you need? Anything that's your protection levers you got activated. Let's have some fun. Let's make it about you tomorrow. We'll see you then. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.